Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Guruvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, where's the 4 shloka tears? No? Jagannath knocked you out. That's a good excuse.
We have one person, she did it.
Hare Krishna. Very good. Very good. But you still remember the first one? Now you have to preach. You have to preach the Mahadev every day using your shlokas. So Prabhupada would say you use the shloka 3 times and it's yours forever. Okay, now let's do it responsively. Marishana Tattve Vrajavipina Chandram Vrajavane Svarin Tannatotve Tadatura Sakitve Tularitam Vishakam Shikshali Vitarana Gurutve Priyasaro Girindro Tat Preksha Lalita Ratidatve Smaramana Mind, meditate on the moon of Braja forest as the lord of my queen. The queen of Braja forest is his mistress, Lalita is their peerless friend, Vishaka is the guru who teaches them many things, and Radhakund and Govardhan Hill as 2 places, the mere sight of which gives charming, transcendental love. So Raghunath Das Goswami is going forward in this sequence of verses in order to give us a real perspective of what Krishna consciousness is really about. And from the very beginning, he's promoting the positive aspects of sadhana bhakti. So first he talks about the negative, you get rid of pride, and then Guru, Vrindavan, Brijbasis, Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, Gayatri Mantra, holy name, and the divine couple. So emphasizing these are the various essential ingredients of devotional practice. Now, but right from the very beginning, it's very clear that we're talking about Radha and Krishna. And just in case that's not clear, he clarifies later on, but every step of the way, Das Goswami not only just emphasizes, all right, we have to get rid of these unfavorable qualities, but we have to cultivate the positive. And in one sense, they're like a chata tata. So you want to get rid of these, but then here's the other aspect. There's the 2 sides of the coin. So then cultivate these. Okay, you want to become free? Nadharmam, nadharmam, shrutigara niruktam kirakuru. You want to be free from the pious and impious deeds? Then serve Radha and Krishna. Remember Lord Chaitanya. So it's very important here that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as well as his associates, are being included. Smarita, please take one of these. That they're included as integral to the service and worship of Radha and Krishna, and also on his own, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own unique standing. So we always have these two aspects. One is, here's the negative and here's the positive. But everywhere, we're always hearing, desire to directly serve the youthful divine couple. So every verse, we're receiving emphasis of Radha and Krishna. Here we are living in Gauravan, Gauradham. We have Vrindavan, and this is Gauravan. So we're living in the land of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And how do we balance this worship between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Krishna? Well, look at the altar, that they're both there, they're equally situated. Radha Madhav is there along with gopis, and Panchatattva are there. Or in all of our ISKCON temples, Gaur-Nitai and Radha Krishna, if Radha Krishna are there. But if Radha Krishna are not there, then Gaur-Nitai is there. Or at least Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. In Nivajadam, well, it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Calcutta, Srila Prabhupada established just Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So those deities are always there side by side. And who are you supposed to worship most? Well, they're one and the same, Radha, Krishna, Nahi, Anya. There's no difference between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha and Krishna. Some difference. He's really Krishna. But then ultimately Srimati Radharani is Krishna as well. But here they're one, Ekatmanav, and now they're two. So, or at least the two became, the one became two, and the two became one. So Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anyway, I won't get into that. They're there simultaneously, eternally existent. But Ekatmanavapi Bhuvi Puradeham Gato Gato To. So now Supreme Lord became two, Radha and Krishna, and has become one in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has always been concurrent, non-different with Krishna. And so is Srimati Radharani. So we talked about that a little ways back. But the point I was making was that devotees can safely worship Gaur-Nitai. So very often devotees want to, at home, worship deities. What deities should they worship? I told them, if you want to worship them through me, now we're talking about disciples, then only Gaur-Nitai. I don't really want devotees to worship Jagannath, Radha Krishna, and so on. Why? Because they require a different kind of standard that devotees at home are generally going to provide. And the end result is I've seen so many Radha Krishna deities in devotees' homes, it's very rare that they are to any standard, what to speak of Radha Krishna standard. Now, what's the point? These aren't dolls, this is God. So if you're going to invite God into your house, then take care of him properly. Otherwise, don't. Now, Gauritai are also God, but they don't require that type of elaborate worship. Because Gauritai ultimately can offer everything, and as here we see, naturally by worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, the emphasis is there on Radha Krishna. It becomes very, very clear. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jiva Goswami also, they emphasize this thing that devotees' affinity and their affection may appear in one of three different ways, manifest in one of three ways. That you you're worshiping exclusively Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Your affection is directed towards Lord Chaitanya. So then what's the ultimate destination? What's the sadhya? Then you go to Swaitadweep, Navadweep, it's called many things, even it's called Brahman. So you may go there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eternal abode in Goloka Vrindavan. And do what? Just like we're doing here. They're living just like here, except live as eternally liberated souls or eternally perfected souls. So they're perfected souls. And but in the mood of sadhakas, we're practitioners. And the main business is just chanting Hare Krishna, more or less just living as brahmanas, very in Navadvip. And Ganga Devi's there, and all the different 9 islands of Navadvip. And the devotees chant Hare Krishna, they take prasadam, they talk about Krishna, and they experience separation, constant separation from Krishna. And the other is if someone is more attached to Radha and Krishna, then they go to Vrindavan, and then you know what goes on in Vrindavan. And the third alternative is that it's equal. Then you go to both places. One Harinarayan manifests here, another one manifests there. This is spiritual world, everything's possible. So then you go to 2 places. But you can't be in Ayodhya and Vrindavan because the moods are not commensurate. They're not complementary. With Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna, they're complementary. There are, again, 2 sides of a coin. Here it is the Audaryadam, and there it is the Madhuryadam. Here the mood is separation from Krishna, and for the most part in Vrindavan, it is also the mood of separation from Krishna. And it is the same attitude which brings us to the natural conclusion that when Krishna says to Uddhava, who knows the verse, neither Lakshmi, Balaram, Brahma, etc. So Krishna says that no one is as dear to me as you. So often that verse and some other verses, acharyas point out that for even practicing devotees, for even devotees, conditioned souls who are practitioners, even they are more dear to Krishna. And really, it's non-different in one sense. Of course, we shouldn't get carried away thinking that we're perfected souls, but as I mentioned, we are living the same life as what goes on in Goloka Vrindavan, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. The only thing is, we're not seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whereas, and the Panch Tattva and other eternal associates. Can we turn on the fan a little? So, yes, it's so either one, but that way we need to keep the balance. But constantly, Raghunath Das Goswami is emphasizing Gandharva Giridhari and other different names of Krishna. But at a certain point now, towards the second part of verse 8, he just starts talking about now what is our real goal, what is our sadhya. And devotees should know. It's very important to know where you're going and to know specifically where you're going. Just like when we came here, say for instance, I came here, so I bought a ticket to India. Okay, but going to India is not really sufficient. It's not to get me right here into this apartment. It has to be India, it has to be West Bengal, it has to be Navadvip, it has to be Mayapur, it has to be Rasamrita Kunj, it has to be Taliban A8. So just to say I'm going to India doesn't get you there. Similarly, you're saying I'm going back to Godhead, that's a lot bigger place than India. So where are you going back to Godhead? So one should be very clear just exactly what are the details. That doesn't mean just because you know where you're supposed to go that you're there or you've made some kind of artificial attempt at spiritual advancement. It's just a natural thing. Not only where you're going, but what are the steps to get there? This is called science. And this is what this is. This is spiritual science. This is devotional science. Srila Prabhupada emphasized it so much that we should be clear about that. So Raghunath Das Goswami is making very clear, oh, I'm not qualified for this. But what are you doing here? You're supposed to be qualified to know where you're going. When you go to university, you don't decide, I'm just going to university. Wow, doesn't matter what I'm studying, I'll just go to university. But then you're just sitting out on the campus like a hippie doing nothing. That's going to university. But when you go, you want to be some specific profession, and you have to know, all right, this takes so many years. I have to go through all of these different stages. You want to be a doctor? Well, that's like, medical school and then internship and very, very serious. You have to know what it is you're going to go through to get to that stage. And then if you want to go and become a brain surgeon, which is, name in the words of my neurologist, is the closest thing you get to God in the world in terms of what people think. So it's such an expertise, such a delicate thing. It requires so much preparation. So you have to know where it is that you want to go. Now, this is where devotees go. So it's not an issue of just, dreaming up that, well, should I go here? Should I go to Vaikuntha or somewhere else? Because Raghunath Das Goswami already said, he says, give up attraction to Lord Narayan, which means all of his incarnations. So how can you give it up if it's your Swarup? You can't give something up that's your Swarup. So therefore, it's something that's going to be acquired now by training our minds, by association, by studying Shastra. So here it becomes very clear. And now I'm really sort of went on. It's not, haven't even touched the verse yet. But anyway, now we're coming into details, and I just made this preface because devotees shouldn't be put off or not think this is not relevant. You should know these things. Don't try to artificially. All right, you're going to be a brain surgeon. Don't think you can just artificially go and start, performing operations on people's head without even being qualified. It won't work. So everything requires qualification. We live in a world where qualification is very much respected, how much someone has become qualified for a certain type of perfection. So, mind meditate on the moon of Braj forest. And you have to remember when this is a very specific language, and when these acharyas write, Raghunath Das Goswami lived for a long time. And comparatively speaking, like to Jiva Goswami, he didn't write that much. I mean, this is almost everything that he wrote. But they think very carefully, just like Srila Prabhupada says, I think 100 times before I write something. So every word has significance. Not only does it have one meaning, it has many meanings. So how's that possible? We're now, here we are studying the absolute truth, and how is it that all of a sudden the absolute truth has multiple meanings? They have multiple meanings, but they all lead to the same place. Still, we should see, well, what is the specific significance of the words that he's using? This is very, can use the word verbose. The moon of Braj forest is the lord of my queen. You could just easily say Krishna. So, but it doesn't say Krishna. He's making a point. The moon of Braja forest. Why? Because more or less, and there's this discussion between gopis, Krishna is really a vanachari. In other words, he's always living in the forest. So he goes out with the cows, he's in the forest. He sleeps at home, naps at home. He goes out with the cows. Then, he comes back in the afternoon, he's with the gopis. Then in the evening, he comes home. He pretends to go to sleep, and he's out all night in the forest. So he's spending all of his time in the forest, most of his time. You can count how much he's at home. Maybe he's at home like 16, 18 hours, 18 hours, 16, 18 hours a day. He's in the forest. 2/3 of the time he's in the forest, and 1/3 of the time he's at home. So that's why Braja forest. The moon is always shining over one place, so Krishna's presence is predominantly within the forest. And we talked about this of my queen. But one thing that it says, Raghunath Das Goswami points out that, all right, now, Srimati Radharani is my queen. Where does that put him? So he already said before, he will engage me in Sri Radha's service. That means that that he is engaged in Srimati Radharani's service as a gopi. But if he says Madhisha, if she's Radharani's friend, then he wouldn't be my queen. That would be my friend. So when he says my queen, then that means that he's in a position of servant. Yes, engage me in Radha's service. It's like there's a lot in when Srila Prabhupada said, "O Lord, O energy of the Lord, please engage me in your service." You expand that, there's a lot there. And the queen of Braj Forest as his mistress. So you could just say, meditate on Krishna and Radha. And in 2 words, you save 2 lines. But that's not what he does. He's elaborating. And with that elaboration, with that type of nomenclature, in other words, the names that he's giving is telling you a lot. And that's why it requires study. The devotees have to recognize these are not, they don't pull things out of a hat. And many of these things are eternal. They're not just written now, but they're always there. They're always eternally existent. One of the evidences for that is that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you got dozens of shlokas that are quoted before they were actually historically written. Now, how do you explain that? So, Kaviraj Goswami can't say, Lord Chaitanya said this, and he didn't say that. Or at least you can elaborate on what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said when it says he's quoting this verse, he's quoting Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and Rupa Goswami hasn't written it. So that means it's already existent. Verses are anyavilasita sunyam, jnana. This is the definition of pure devotional service. Rupa Goswami didn't just make it up now. It's always been there. Pure devotional service is always defined like this. Okay, so, and he's saying the queen of Braja Forest as his mistress, and Ishwari. So Ishwari, he's saying that Madhishwari, Madhisha, and Vrajavana Ishwari. So, and the queen of Braj Forest as his mistress. So here, the English is not so clear because mistress can mean many things, but Ishwari means someone who's controlling. So here now, although he said Natatve, that Krishna is her Nat, but here he said, but she's the one who's in control. So, as we said yesterday, from a formal point of view, yes, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, but actually, Brajavana Ishwar, anyway, Brajavipina Chandra, Brajavana Ishwarim, Taddartate. So, but she's the one who's actually the Ishwari. She's the actual controller. So she's his controller. She's the one who's really in charge. May not be from the official point of view, but from those who are engaged in Krishna's pastimes, then it is. And as I mentioned, then yes, one word that Prabhupada does not speak in all of his books. He may translate names, but he does not speak. And that is that here, by saying that Madhisha, my queen, then when we're talking about his maid servant, that far Prabhupada goes, but the manjari. Prabhupada never uses the word. This is.
I have a purpose with Prabhupada is using the word.
He is.
Yes. Last verse of Upadeshamrita, purpose, Prabhupada is quoting the word.
He's quoting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
Yeah, but he's writing.
No, he's writing what is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying. But Prabhupada's not saying. Yeah. Yeah, there it is. And elsewhere he says Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. But so Prabhupada's it's a very confidential thing. And because of the nature of the misuse, Bo Kaltabhaja, Dharavichi, Jat Goswami, 13 main, but so many more Apasampradayas, which are generally going in this direction, which is that without qualification, they think that they've attained the stage of being Radharani's maidservant. So Prabhupada steered clear. Why? Because once you become purified, then the unsaid becomes obvious. So Prabhupada would often make this point that why do you have to have sex education in school? It says when you grow up, it becomes natural. You need education. Do you need to give animals sex education? They know what to do. So it's not something that is required, especially at a young age. Mothers will tell their daughters when they're getting married, and similarly fathers will tell their sons. Okay, we should stop there. Let's try and continue. Tomorrow I have to go Niranjan Maharaj, but I'll definitely be back for class. We'll see if I get back for Kirtan. Lalita as their careless friend, Vishaka as the guru who teaches them many things. The who needs to teach Radha and Krishna something? Why do they need to be taught? And Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill. These are very exalted places, and of course with the Goswami, this is where Upadeshamrita also goes to in the last verses. Govardhan Hill and Radha Kund. Radha Kundi Hapi Gokulapate Primamrita Shravanat. So, Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Das Goswami ki Jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi.